Hey, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Lavell Vegas, George Zilla, Terrance G. We are 3CM. Tonight's food is from Victor's Mexican Restaurant. We got the carne asada tacos, and we got a couple chips and dip. Some of the salsa looks hot and everything like that. But before we get to all this food, man, we got to give it to the guest tonight. Man, he is the owner of the Backline Comedy Theater downtown. If you ain't been to the Backline as a comedian, then you're not a comedian. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm just keeping it honest with you. You're not a comedian if you ain't been down here. You're not a comedian if you don't know this man to the left of me. Give it up for Dylan Oaks Rohde.
Dylan.
There we go, man. Welcome.
Thank you.
Dylan.
Yeah.
I'm feeling all right. Feeling good. It's been a good day. How about you?
Man, I'm great, man. Glad you here, man. Glad you.
Yeah, we're
Food
open.
smelling good.
I was gonna say we're open to the tacos if you want to go ahead and start diving in.
I just dive right in, huh?
You dive right in.
We don't talk about it. We get right into it.
Since you're our guest, you can take a bite out of each everybody's plate.
Right.
I'm just gonna pick it up and then put it back.
But you gonna be in the morning like, you better go with that. Dylan, it's good to have you here, man.
Yeah.
It really is, man. Y'all don't mind? I just want to highlight Dylan real quick, man. You know I've been doing comedy for a long time, but it's when I went to the Backline was the first time I was really open to the comedy community, because I didn't know we had a comedy community, you know. And I started off with no open mics and all that, man, but I love what you're doing for the young comics, the old comics, everybody, man. You opened up the door in Omaha for everybody, man. So I just want to say I appreciate
Give
you.
me applause for that.
Thank
man.
you.
Appreciate you,
Appreciate
man. Real.
Well, because it's such a diverse platform too, right? Like, so let's dive right in it. Not only do you do comedy, but you also do improv there, man. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we started with improv. That was my first love, really. I trained out in Los Angeles at UCB and IO, and I moved back here because I wanted to teach improv, and there wasn't a whole lot here at the time. So I thought it'd be pretty easy to like kind of teach, and then if I wasn't good at it, I could just kind of get better at time. And then my goal originally was like to just get better by teaching and then move back out to Hollywood. But now that I've been here for about 13 years, I'm good here.
So has it picked up, the improv, has it picked up since you...
Yeah. It's been nice. We just had a guest in from London who came in here, and she taught like our improvised Shakespeare team, our improvised musical team, and we have a improvised hip opera team as well that she coached.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she does hip hop in London.
Oh,
She was pretty good at freestyling too. I was a little surprised.
Number just falling down.
Fergie did it already. All right, we can't do that.
What's your favorite thing to do, man? Because you're sort of a not sort of, my bad. You are multi-talented, multitasking, doing everything. So we know you do comedy. We know you do improv. I know you do rap because you sort of challenged me on my post not too long ago. Hold on. He raps too. He challenged me on the post that he told me, he said, hey man, you know, a lot of people talk about doing these battles and they don't do it. And I'm like, man, he's getting on me, man. But
There's a lot of people who talk about
I know. I was one of them. It's been a month now and I still ain't did it. So I'm like, all right, no, I'm gonna get on it though, man. But out of those three, man, which one do you like most and why?
Oh man, it's tough to pick. I'd still say improv is probably my overall love, but it's weird because as much as I've done comedy and do comedy, I get the instant praise from doing hip hop. Especially when I look like I do and I go to karaoke and they're not expecting it and they're like, what? And everyone pulls out their phones and they're recording it. I never just do comedy and everyone's like, I gotta get this.
I mean, I guess I can see that because, I mean, it ain't like you walking in, you look like Eminem, you look like somebody's daddy up in there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then you have to start flowing. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'd like to hear you one day, man. Like, really hear you. I ain't going to put you on the spot today.
I mean, I was gonna say,
But
Should
you
we put
even
him on the
started,
spot?
No.
you even started incorporating that part of the shows recently, right? Like you have a recently developed show to where you're kind of doing something with that in there, like the rap battle things, right?
yeah, we're trying to do like, it's sort of evolved over the years, but it's sort of a little bit closer to like a Wild and Out style. So it's like some short form improv games with some hip hop to it. So we do like, it's called Freestyles versus Punchlines. And we get people to come in and we have two different teams and then you get different games. So like one of them might be, you have to freestyle as a profession. So you'd have 4 to 8 bars to rap as a janitor. You know what I mean? You know, something like that. And then that one's to a beat, and then we have some that's like a cappella. So we might have one that's it's called Dissing Booth, and one person from one team stands at the window, and everyone lines up, and they come up with 2 bars a cappella as a diss, and they have to on the spot retort 2 lines back to them, and then the biggest reaction from the audience gets the point.
That's dope.
That sounds
That
that sounds really cool and very creative.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun show.
we probably ought to get in there.
Yeah.
I think we could take on whoever.
Yeah, we need more people.
So, man, I ain't saying I can't rap, but
don't do that to Terrance.
I'm not gonna doubt. I don't know
Terrance
anybody
probably
down
flow.
there. I don't want to doubt nobody, man.
No,
I ain't
I'm
never
just
been
talking-
down
I'm
there.
just
You know what I mean? But that does sound dope, man.
We're at a very limited skill supply still, so if you can do it, jump up. Because right now it's like, oh, I only have 5 people who can do this show. I guess I got to cancel it. You know? I'm like, okay, at least I got 8. I can do this show now, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. So when was the backline created, man? Let's look deep into that. Like, when did you start the backline, man?
I'm gonna pour some of this on here. I'm gonna do half red and half green while I answer
man, do
your
your
question
thing,
here.
man.
A little bit of Christmas spirit, huh?
Yeah, there we go. I got my Christmas taco here.
See what side make you swing.
Yeah, so I started in February of 2011 was my first class that I taught. And it was in the basement of an art gallery, like an independent art gallery on 50th and Dodge. So most people are like, I don't even know what's there. So right now, you know, like the new Film Streams is right there. It's right across the street where there's like a vacuum shop and Caterpillar vapes. The basement of that building is where we started.
Really?
Wow,
Yeah.
man.
And it was really great at first because it was like this kind of independent venue that did like some jazz shows every once in a while. And we had like an instant audience. There wasn't anywhere on there that said comedy. And yet our first like 5 shows were just packed.
We got that basement vibe. Like that's a
Yeah.
that's a comedy feel. That's a comedy vibe, right? So I imagine that helped. But yeah.
And people also like things that are hidden,
Yeah, right.
you know, like the,
Because you're in the secret, man. You're in the know, yeah.
yeah. So you had to like, you had to
you run
walk
from your
in and just
baby
know
mama.
that that's what it was. And
Man.
it was also something where it wasn't necessarily legit when we started, so it was also BYOB. So it was a nice, cheap option for people to show up, pay $5 at the door, and have a 12-pack of beer.
It's actually not a bad idea, man.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty dope,
Saves
man.
money.
Yeah, but you can't really do that, so there's a reason more people don't.
Yeah, right.
That's funny, man. How many monthly shows you got down there, man? Which you put you on the spot.
Sure.
Which one's your favorite?
All right. Well, we got about 7 or 8 a week. So every month is do that math real quick. So that'd be about 28, 30 shows.
Would you do something in the daytime too, or just?
No, but we got like our showcase and then an open mic on Wednesday. We've got 2 different shows on Thursday, 3 on Friday, and 3 on Saturday.
Jesus, man, I didn't realize that much. I need to start tuning in a little bit more,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, man, that's a lot.
That is, man. That's incredible.
Hold on, man. Which one's your favorite?
Oh man.
Don't say the one that I did years ago, Bernard.
Yeah. My favorite show was 5 years ago. Let's see here. Right now,
You don't gotta answer, man, because
No, that's
I
fine,
don't want
that's
nobody have
fine.
no favoritism either, man. To be like, hold on, man. You said which one was your favorite?
can I
You
plug
know?
my own show that is my favorite?
You can go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah, of course.
The
of
Woo
course.
show is my favorite show to do. It's
Okay.
the What You Want show.
Okay.
And it's
Todd Dylan Graves. You
Uh-huh.
do it with him.
Yep,
Okay.
2 of
okay.
us. We started during the pandemic when it was like, I need to produce some content. And I didn't have anyone that was available, and everyone was just from their camera. So I just sat in my apartment one night and said, whatever you want this show to be, I'm going to try to make it that. And people would be like, hey, why don't you cook something? And so I went to my kitchen and I cooked something in the shot. And I'm like, what next? And I'm like, do a shot. And I do a shot. And that's how it started. And then when we started doing live shows, we started taking challenges from the audience. So every show is the audience saying, hey, do this thing and come back. And then the next time we come back with a video, and then we ask them to give us a new
You
challenge.
know, I got to ask, dude.
Yeah,
Anybody
yeah.
ask you anything weird, man? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I know they did.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
take a shot. Go in the bathroom. Nah.
Well, we've had our last challenge, not this one we just did, but the one before that was to get a Brazilian wax.
Oh,
So this one we had to do a Brazilian wax, and Todd was like, "Nah, I ain't doing it," and I was like, I might do it. We'll see. When we went to this place and they were like, you can't film us doing it. And so we were like, well, it's not going to be a good video to just be like, hey, I did it. Right? So we worked out this thing where we got 2 dominatrix to come in and wax me on stage. Now I'm behind the window, but it's live in front of an audience, and I'm getting my butt waxed. And it was all set up, so like one of them was chasing Todd like it's like WWE. You know, he's trying to get up on stage, and she's chasing him. It was great.
That had to be
It was so fun.
That's why I say prostitution is a victimless crime.
It was a fun show though, and we've gotten some weird ones. Like we had to learn to do a backflip. I was 39 years old when I did my first backflip ever.
Yeah.
Our most recent one. So our next show is this Saturday. It's gonna be Todd's birthday, and our recent one was do a trick shot. So we went and got a couple folks, and we went to do trick shots at a basketball court in Bellevue, and we made them all. One of mine was at the free throw. I'm spinning a frisbee with one hand, and I throw the basketball over my head with the other one, and I made it. I made it.
Wow.
And I got video of it.
Okay,
I got video of that.
You know, they always say paralympics can take anything. So, no, I know you. That's cool, man.
So let's talk about the back line a little bit more too. Like, so we all know that comedians can be a bunch of drama queens, man. So how do you navigate that? Because you consistently get the largest footprint of open mic comedians. So that means for the people that are out there that don't know, that's such a wide swath of talent, right? Anything from people that are starting out that night to you get some big name bangers that are touring and everything. And then there's egos that come with it from people that have done it for 3 months and they're like, I now deserve Netflix money. And you have so how does Dylan navigate that with the backline?
Oh man. It is very tough to find that middle ground between everyone. Like they say, if you're not pissing off someone, you're probably not doing it right. So there's some people who will always have a problem with whatever I do. But the biggest thing I can do is, what do most people feel? So like if one person's like, hey, I hate that you're doing this, and I'm like, okay, thanks for telling me. If everyone being like, you got to change this, then I'll be like, okay, yep, I'll change it. For the most part, it's that simple. There's a few things that I try to make sure that I stay consistent on, or at least a lot of big decisions, I reach out to others. And I'm like, what is your advice? You know, people I respect that are in the community or that are at Backline and actually know what's going on. I'll reach out to them and see if they agree with what I'm thinking, and sometimes they don't, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll change, you know. It's
you
tough.
be doing pretty good. I mean, 13 years, man. Like,
Yeah.
Cause, I mean, you said 2011, right? So yeah, it'd be 13 years. It's a pretty incredible run, bro.
Yeah. Even the difference between the stand-up communities, though, is different than stand-up and improv.
Right.
Like in a lot of cities, they don't
Right.
blend at all. And I just went to this improv summit in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I met with like a bunch of other improv theater owners. And I told them I'd do an open mic. And they're like, oh, we're scared to do an open mic. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, it's a lot of voices we don't want to hear. I go, oh, well, you know, sure. And it's tough. The thing I've been telling people lately, it's weird. Okay, so like when it comes to open mic, I try to leave it more of like a freedom of speech thing. As long as you're not assaulting or harassing someone,
Right.
you can get up there and speak your mind. Let the audience decide. That's the chance for the audience to be like, I hate this.
Right.
And I'll watch people who go up there with some awful content and they'll go like 3 times and then eventually they get sick of the audience just sitting there like this. And then they change, you know? But like, if you let that person go to just the place where they want to be heard, then they keep amplifying that dumb joke, you know, or something that's like, you might find a very small group of people who love this, but like most people don't,
Right.
you know? Yeah.
So with that, man, I'd be interested in, you've been doing it for 13 years. That comes with a lot of lessons learned. That comes with lots of ups and downs and with that. So what's something you wish you knew before this whole thing started?
Great. I'll answer here in just a second.
No worries.
Tacos,
These tacos are pretty fire, though.
They are.
They are
These are
pretty
good.
Thank you, Victor.
You guys already ate them while I was talking?
Man, I asked you a question. I hurried up and smashed it real quick.
Which one was the hot one again?
That one's
The red one, yeah.
Okay, that green one ain't playing though either.
No, that red one's.
I ain't
That green one ain't too
I
bad.
can't barely handle the green one, so
Y'all
I
need to step
definitely
it up.
want to touch the red one.
You know, I might need to try that green. I had the red. It was all right. I didn't have a lot of it, though, so. You think the green one's spicier, or you haven't had the red?
I ain't well, they said the red is spicier than the green,
Somebody's
so I
gonna
ain't
have to
touching
get
the
him a
red
paper
one.
towel shortly, man.
Yeah,
But is it coming out?
yeah.
So my ADHD kicked in again. What was the question?
No, you're good, man. So no, just what's some lessons that you've got now,
Yeah.
13 years in, that you wish you knew beforehand? What's a comedy club owning hack beforehand that you're like, hey, before you own, this is what you really need to consider?
Well, my biggest advice would probably be more if you're going new to a community. So when I moved here, I had this mindset of like, this is how it worked in LA. I'm not gonna necessarily like try to work with people who were here, and I'm just gonna do my thing. And I try to be really stubborn about this is how I want it to be. And I really should have just worked more with the local community when I moved in here. And I really wish I would have. Eventually I did. Eventually I was like, hey, I'm sorry, it's been weird for 4 years. Do you want to do a show? But when I first started, I was very stubborn on, like, it has to be this. Like, I didn't even do short form improv when I started. That's how strict I was. I was like, we're only going to do long form. And now I run a short form show as well. So, like, you know, things changed.
Yeah.
Definitely, if there's already people doing stuff and you need, like, work with people. You know, try not to limit it, I guess. That would be the biggest thing. I'll also say this. Different communities, or different, stand-up's different than improv. So stand-ups, as long as you can give them a good-looking venue with an audience, they're probably going to be pretty happy, you know?
Right. True.
If you can bring in some people that they're interested in, they're going to love it even more. You know, if they can ever open for a big name, they love it the most. That's something we don't do a lot still. But, you know, I try to have a good looking place and get people there. Getting people there is the toughest. I got to say, like, marketing and promoting is my weakness, and it's something I've been struggling with this whole time. I know it's weird that I own the venue and that's what I can't do, but, like, yeah. Once people are there, they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you this question because since you've been in the comedy world for a while. So how long do you think a person that does open mics before they should do a show? Or do you think that should be a discretion of the promoter? Because I know a lot of people, they do open mics. Some of them feel like they got it where they can just go straight to the show. Some of them need to stay practicing longer, you know what I'm saying? But do you think there's a time frame for that, or do you think it's more of an individual thing?
I think a lot more shows should be putting on one new person every so often. Because if you're just bringing on the best, this is more from a venue side than like someone who's just running their own show. But like I need people constantly coming up through the scene to constantly find those new people. And people are always moving, and if you just rely on this section, it just gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
But if you're constantly adding someone new, you're finding new talent. Also, new people are more likely to bring more people. So that first show you ever do, you bring a good chunk of folks.
That is true.
So it's kind of a nice balance. You know, as long as you find someone who's new, who's at least decent to watch, you just give them a short amount of time. You know, and if it stinks, they only did 5 minutes or whatever, you know, and then you got your headliner still to close it out.
Appreciate that, man. Cause I always kind of wondered about that a little bit, you know.
Yeah. I also run that showcase right before the open mic.
Right.
And a large part of that is getting those newer people to be in actual shows, because a lot of people will just do open mics and they'll think someone's going to recognize them and book them. But you have to be like already good for people to be like, hey, will you do my show? Usually.
Right.
So it's just a chance for them to be like, oh, hey, I'm already doing shows. I've already been booked, and then maybe someone on that show is like, hey, do you want to do mine?
See, I get criticized for not being at the open mics because when I first started out eons ago, didn't have like the open mics and stuff like that. Now, you know, now we probably open mics almost Well, not almost anywhere, but I mean, but they're available now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
And our open mic is a full house usually. So like it feels like a real show. Like people will be like, "Oh, I'm going to try something new," and then they'll see a full crowd and they'll go, "I'm going to do my best jokes tonight."
I mean, man, whenever somebody talk about when they say comedy or open mic, the first name you hear is backline.
Yep.
Backline always come up first. So kudos to you, bro.
You know, I'm really since I've been doing this, when I first started, you know, like the Funny Bone got a lot of flack for like not introducing like a lot of locals, but like they do now. You know, they put up a lot of locals in their shows, and they've been nice to me, and we've been working. You know, and we don't like work together, but we talk. You know, and stuff like that, and it's nice just as a larger community. That there's more inside. Like it's really tough when I see things like Steelhouse and this other new Omaha Performing Arts one, because it's like, great, we're gonna be bringing in these huge names, but that doesn't mean anything for our scene.
No.
And it actually means like less money for our shows. You know?
Because they're so far detached. It's like I remember one night we had a show. I think it was WrestleMania or something at your spot at Backline, and Ron White came to like the Orpheum, and it was like, good luck. You know, like how can you compete with something like that? It's just.
But I mean, I don't know how many people have come to our shows and thought the people who are on our stage any given week are just as funny as at least the openers they see at any medium.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, you see that we got a abundance of talent here, right here in Omaha. It's just that people just don't see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, that's why I wanted to come back and teach, because when I was in Hollywood, I was like, it isn't like all the best people just end up in Hollywood. That isn't just where you go if you're talented.
Right.
It's where you go if you're delusional. You know? So like, there's plenty of talented people all across the country, all across the world, right? So it was like, well, I'll just find the people. There's got to be good, talented people in Omaha. I'll find them and have them in the class. You know?
three of the best right here.
Yeah, there we go. It's just, Omaha is just filled with. Okay, thank you.
Count you up.
You left me out of it.
No, I want to leave you out, man.
You can see who the promoter is with the group.
This
He's the Don King of this joint.
You say that, and then we like, can we book a show? And then 10 people show up. Like, I thought y'all was the best. You know what I mean? Man?
How about this? While I finish this, why don't you guys tell me what you first thought of the back?
I remember actually being kind of the new guy outsider. I remember being thoroughly impressed with it because from the storefront, I fell in love with it from the storefront because I just come from DC and I'm used to that downtown city feel anyways, where you look at something and it's relatively unassuming and then you walk inside and it's like, oh damn, this is really cool. And I really like how it's like you've got that lounge right there in the beginning, relatively unassuming, and then it opens up to the theater and it's big. Then you have the back room with, you know, the upstairs portion, the green room. So that was impressive on top of the fact that it had a good amount of comics, a good amount of crowd, and a good amount of very funny people, which was kind of like, I'm sure you probably felt that way, right? Moving from LA, that big city, then moving to a smaller city. It's almost like that demotion, you know? So like the backline helped me feel like, oh, this just kind of that sort of the thing like you're saying. It's like, there's talented, funny people everywhere. I'm going to find my lane somewhere in here, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's what I appreciated about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I first kind of backline, actually, Killed Theodric was the one that he was putting on the Chocolate Sundays there. He had booked me for the show there, the headline there. So the first time I went to backline, I got the headline there. But just like he said, when you walked in, it was the first time walking in, I didn't even know backline exists. That was the crazy part.
I still hear that way too
You
much.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, I didn't, man, because, like I said, when I started out in comedy, man, like 20 years ago, you know what I'm saying? So I was just getting booked when you do show here or there. It didn't have back then I think it was a comedy spot called Jokers that used to be downtown.
That was way before my time.
Yeah, that was way before a lot of people's time. So that was my first comedy, being at a comedy club there. But when I first walked in the back line, man, I was like, man, this is awesome, man. Like, it was different. It was new. It was cool. Like you said, you got the theater feel, man. You got the people there. It was just, all the comics were there. It was just like a big sorority, man. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was cool. I had a great time there, except for the kids that were sitting in front. one of the comics brought their kids up front. I like, man, hey, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, man, this ain't no Christian mingle, so you might want to cover your kids' ears because I'm kind of raunchy, so edgy, but I had a great time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people, we do allow kids if you understand that your kid's going to be around bad content,
We
Some
did
people,
a show
some
with
people
a
get
baby,
upset.
man. Like a month ago, there was I think it was Cards Against Comics, and there was a damn baby
Oh, man.
in the crowd.
Yeah, hopefully if it cries, they leave. We tell them if they bring a baby, if it cries, to
I
leave.
loved it.
But man, yeah, we've had some weird, some people don't like that. But also some people really do. Some people who are like, I don't want to pay for a sitter. I don't know. Yeah, the kid ain't going to remember that. Kid ain't going to remember those jokes.
All right, so since we're closing, man, we're going to ask you, I'd love to throw a curveball at you, but we're going to do a little bit different today, all right?
Okay.
A little bit different. Quick FMK, fornicate, marry, kill from us three. Who you doing?
For you three?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I treat you right, baby, but
You're on the spot, Dylan. Let's go.
that's a new one.
Yeah, that's it.
Nobody was
for a
expecting
loop.
that.
So hold
I
on,
thought you
man.
were asking this regular question, though. You threw me.
I know. I was telling him to wrap it up because we got a minute left, and he threw you that, man.
Yep. I
Don't
wanted
even
to
answer
do
that.
curveball.
Yeah.
I'm throwing haymakers before we got to go out.
We got 50 seconds, man. So we
All right. Let's do. I don't know if I want to answer that.
throw some
I don't think there's any right way to answer this.
I don't think
Instead, tell everybody else where to follow you, man, and what you got going on.
Great. Oh, man. Yeah, so check out backlinecomedy.com. You can check, pretty much Backline Comedy is our thing on any Facebook or anything like that, or TikTok. You can also check out my animated series, Troglodytes. You can check that out on TikTok or YouTube. It's an animated series about cryptids. I also have the Woo Show. Check out this Saturday. And you can also check that out on TikTok. Hashtag Woo Show, WUW.
All right. Well, we appreciate our guests, man, and appreciate y'all tuning in. And y'all have a fantastic night.